Dewi.
Yes.
Dewi Fujin. You were only 30 years old when your husband
passed away. Yes.
Passed away, and since you've become somebody who's always also associated with controversies. For example, your statement about you think that the CIA was behind the fall of President Sukarno, and also that you believe that President Sukarno might have been murdered at the end of his life. And also there are other sort of more sort of sensational events, such as, for example, there was a book of photography that you published, the Madame de Sugar, and then some kind of fight with the Mini. This is something that is often associated with with you and your figure and controversies. I mean, how do you feel? I mean, do you feel that you caught these controversies or sensations?
I don't think it's a controversy or sensation. I don't even, that book was solely only for Japanese, and I didn't think it was coming here. Anyway, I consider myself as an artist. Before I met Bappa, I was at a Toge production to be an actress. I was learning acting, voice, and dancing, and so forth. And then I was already playing a small part in Japanese television drama, and then also I was learning Japanese classic dance. And my first stage was at Mitsukoshi Theater. I can even show you. I was dancing Fujimusume, classic Japanese dances. And then also I paint. I wanted to become a painter too, and an artist. I have 2 times received prize before I was married to President. And then, but in Japan, the women artists, the price of the painting was very low compared to the men's artists. And so I didn't think that to become a painter isn't that good idea. But still, it was remaining as my hobby. I still paint, and I made a few years ago, I made a private collection. I mean, exhibition. And then in Paris, I was with all the social friends, but still I was doing a lot of activities on art. And then in Japan, I have been dancing classic dances. I've been dancing in the Kabuki theater. I have been creating a lot of painting and exhibiting and so forth. So I consider myself as an artist. And I wrote about 8 books. I published already 8 books. And then I think I have a lot of talents, creative talents, and I consider myself as an artist. So even that photograph book, it was a part of my artistic
expression.
Yes. That book, it was expressing women's life, women's feeling of sadness, the happiness, the anger, the jealousy, the envy. And then each photograph is taken from the Japanese novel. And so it is, each scene is a famous scene of the famous Japanese novel. So it is completely, I consider it is an art book. It's not a...
So Madame de Sugar is your artistic expression.
Yeah.
It's an art book. But how did you feel when the book was banned in Indonesia and people?
First of all, it should not be even burned. It should not be. It should. I don't think it was burned. It should not even publish here. It was published in Japan. Why should you bring it here? Why? It's not even burned because it was not supposed to be published here anyway. It was supposed to be published in Japan because the mentality is different, the culture is different, the custom is different. Completely. It's none of your business. You understand? It was for the Japanese audience. It is in our mentality. It is in our culture. It is in our tradition. It is in our circumstances. It is in our life, Japanese life. It has nothing to do with Indonesia. Nothing to do with the religious, you know. And then also, I wanted to be of myself, you know.
But did you understand the feelings why perhaps Indonesians would feel slightly disturbed by the book? I mean, it was not distributed in Indonesia, but it's very easy, you know, for people to
I have
read the
not
books,
given anybody any problems. My life depends on myself, and I am independent, and nobody helped me, nobody gave me any hand to survive, and I have survived myself without anybody's help, without any government's help. And then I lived in abroad for 40 years, and then Indonesian government has not done anything for me, and I have not have any assistance from anybody, you know. It's my life is my own.
Yeah, so it's nobody else's business.
Exactly, yes.
Do. But you still keep the Indonesian, you know, nationality and your name. I mean, is there a significance to it? I mean, do you feel that, you know, there is a part of you that is Indonesian, or perhaps do you feel that you're actually, being a carrying, I wanted to have, I don't want to live as a widow of late President Sukarno. It's too much burden for me. It was not easy life to keep and then to maintain as a widow of. If you become a widow when you are age of 60, it's very easy to keep your life as a widow of great men. But I was only 30 when I became a widow. And then I suffered time to time being, it was very heavy to carry name Sukarno. Then one day I decided myself, I want to be myself, forget about what I want to live as myself, my life, and new of myself. Then I try to how do you call it? Transform.
Yeah, transform. And then that was one of the thought that I published that book, because I would like to live as an artist, because that gives me more comfort and more comfortable. I'm more comfortable and more confident, and I feel more freedom. And then because I wanted to have my own life with my, because I don't want be forced to live and to collect the respect and so forth and so forth. As a widow of late President Sukarno, I prefer the rest of my life to be my own.
Dewi Fujin,
yeah.
Dewi. But until now, you still keep the Indonesian name and the
yes.
Indonesian
Why should I change?
What does it mean to you?
You cannot change your nationality, your name.
But what does it mean to you?
You cannot go back to the Japanese nationality.
You cannot.
You cannot.
But what does it mean to you having an Indonesian nationality? Does it mean anything to you?
I have to tell you, it was very difficult for me to keep Indonesian passport, because to go to anywhere you need a visa. If I return to a Japanese passport, I don't need a visa for almost every country. You know, then sometimes I have to go abroad for location in Italy or any country, let's say America, France, any place. You need a visa, and all my Japanese staff can go. I cannot go sometimes because you need 2 weeks for visa for Schengen, you know, and then it's very difficult to keep Indonesian passport, but I stick to the Indonesian passport.
But if you had the choice...
Because that is the only passport I could come back to Indonesia free. You know, that's the only way.
If you had
because if I want to go to Burita, if I have to request for visa, I don't know if I obtain the visa or not, but as long as you have Indonesian passport and warga negara, you can come back.
But if you had the choice and you could relinquish, would you rather go back to being now?
I have no merit I don't have any more relative in Japan, and there's no reason to become and then also you have to go through so much papers to go back to Japanese nationality. Very difficult. You maybe have to live 20 years to get Japanese citizenship. You are completely treated like foreigners. I tried one time.
So how was life for you in the 40 years after you lost your husband? I mean, I know you know, businesswoman, you're an artist, but you're also a socialité, and you moved, you know, you were in the States, you were in Europe.
I tell you,
what did you do?
I have many people, you know, I feel a little bit sometimes strange when people say, oh, Dewi Soekarno is very lucky, she has beautiful clothes, expensive fur, jewelry, she traveled Monte Carlo, Paris, London, New York, like a jet set life, etc. I work 3 times more than anybody. I did the effort 3 times more than anybody. I studied 3 times more than anybody. And I slept only 1/3 of everybody. Even up to now. I did so much effort, and I never become sick because I had no time to become sick. It was a luxury for me to be falling into sickness. I had no time. I worked so hard. And even now, I work very hard to you know, create myself. It was very hard when I was living in France to keep dignity of name Soekarno, even in New York. And then one day I said to myself, I want to forget all that. It's not for me anymore. I had it enough. And I want to be myself. That's it. And then my life with Bappa is already 56 years ago, you know, and Bappa died in 1970, so now is about 45 years. So, and then for me it was very important that I have my own new Devi, you know. Yes, and I created myself.
Who is the real Dewi?
What?
Who is the real Dewi? What drives the real Dewi? The energy, where does it come from? And what
I
is
tell you, my energy sometimes comes from the anger, because you know. Anger gives me great energy, but a positive energy, because you know now I live in Japan. So many things happening in the world, injustice, unfairness, you know, so many things, and it makes me very angry. And that brings me so much energy and power, because I think I can do something. I have to do something, you know. And so for example, I send out the message of my thoughts every day through my blog. And my blog is also read by many, many millions of people in Japan, because my blog is considered quite important.
And you've had this blog for 7 years.
Yes, already done. Yeah.
You've been writing for this blog every single day.
Yes.
Where do you get your ideas and thoughts?
No, because every day you see in television or in a newspaper, some very horrible murder happening, or school children commit suiciding, you know, or between children and children having a fight and being killed, or some crazy people just stabbing people, or I see this Islam country. I wonder why America have to kill Hussein. I mean, what happened to Iraq now? You know, what is happening to Africa? You know, and what is happening in Southeast China Sea? I think China is being very aggressive, and what's happening in Ukraine, and then Tibet, and you know, so forth, and the world is moving, changing so much, and there are so much refugees, political refugees.
Interesting. Anger, but positive anger keeps you going. Are you
Yes.
also a happy person? Do you,
I am, yes.
What
As
gives
much
you-
as much as I work, I try to make myself happy.
what gives you the greatest happiness?
Well, I go out with friends. We have a wonderful conversation. I think the conversation is better than any delicious dinner or lunch. I enjoy very much exchanging the view with the friends, and then that gives you richer life. And then also I love animals. I have 15 dogs. I live with the dog. And then I listen to beautiful music and I paint because I love to paint, as I told you. And then I like to write a book. I already published 8 books.
So you're very, very prolific, you're very productive. But are there other dreams that you're still, you know, chasing after, dreams that you have not fulfilled, and things that you want to do that you have not done, you feel?
Well, my dream is if I can have a lots and lots of money. I love to buy a big mountain and then make a fence around, and then to help, to support, to protect all those animals who has been abandoned.
Wow, you're an animal lover.
Yes.
Finally, Dewi, I know you've
I love
written
anything that has a life, plants, flowers, anything.
You love nature. Yeah. Now you've written so many books, and you know, including your autobiography, which has come out. But when you look back over your life, how would you sum it? Are there regrets, or is there particular destiny you feel that?
There are
this
many
is my
many
life?
regrets I have in my life, and there are many mistakes I have done, and then I learn a lot from the mistake I have done, but sometimes you have a two different kind of mistake that is so regrettable that if I did not make this mistake, what could I have done? And then another mistake is when you are doing the mistake, you are the happiest time, when you are having a happiest time.
Give me some examples of your mistakes that you've regretted.
For example, when I came back here, when the Bappa was dying, that time he was already a general, Brigadier General Sabo, who has been tortured and who couldn't even walk, asked me to come to see him, and I did not come to see him. And I wanted to know now what he wanted to tell me. And then when I was in Paris, Prime Minister Rahman of Malaysia was asking me to come to London to come to see him. And then I was too proud to come to see him. But maybe he wanted to tell me something about 30th of September, 1st of October. And I regret very much why I did not come to see him, because he really insisted that I come to see him and to talk. And I was too proud to go to see him. And Now I regret. Maybe he want to tell me something very important. But I went to see Colonel Latif in jail, and he gave me a very important information, which is in my book. I was not courageous enough to see Colonel Sabu because I had some anger against him for something which was very small, and maybe it was a misunderstanding. I didn't come to see him, and I still regret very much.
Yeah, let's end on a happier note. What was the happiest point in your life, the happiest moment in your life?
Oh, when I knew that I was pregnant. Because, you know, to born as a woman and become a wife, and then to die without becoming a mother, I thought it was so sad. So when doctor told me I'm pregnant, I really felt so happy. But you know, if I did not have Karina, if I was going to die when he dies, because he made a last testimony saying that I should be buried in his grave. So I believed completely that I would die with him if I did not have a child.
Dewi Fujin.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing with me. And I wish you the best of luck and many more books to come, many more projects ahead of you, and more jumping off planes, bungee jumping, riding on dolphins, and more circus acts.
Well, that was challenging, you know, but I like to challenge because now I'm 75 years old, and then I give encouragement to Japanese old ladies, that showing that what people think that is impossible to do, I made it. So that is encouragement to Japanese old people. Yeah.
Okay, well.
You know, having a spirit of challenging, I think is very important for keeping you young.
Yes, I think that is the secret to your youth, energy and beauty, is having courage.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.